The Detroit Red Wings are at a critical juncture in their season, and perhaps their rebuild. After a disastrous 3-game road trip in California, the team is heading back to Detroit with more questions than answers. First losing to the Anaheim Ducks by 6-4, and then the following game losing to the Los Angeles Kings by a final score of 4-1. And then in the most previous game, losing to the San Jose Sharks in overtime 5-4, only getting 1 point in those 3 games. Not only exposed the team's struggles, but have also raised serious doubts about the future of head coach Derek Lalonde. Right now, the Red Wings sit tied for second to last in the Eastern Conference by points percentage. They have also only managed 1 win this season against a playoff caliber team, and that was the New Jersey Devils, which was back on October 24th. Despite these struggles, believe it or not, the team is still just 3 points out of a playoff spot. So that raises a tough question. Is Derek Lalonde the right coach to guide this team back into contention? Or is it time for general manager Steve Yzerman to pull the plug and find someone new? In this video, I'll be discussing the potential of letting go of head coach Derek Lalonde and whether or not it will benefit the team moving forward. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and comment down below your thoughts, and if you really liked it, feel free to hit that sub button for more Red Wings content. Derek Lalonde is now in his 3rd and final year of his contract, and his hiring came with clear expectations. Rebuild this team into a playoff contender. In year 1, it was all about establishing structure, with year 2 bringing hope as Detroit came so close with a tiebreaker to make the playoffs. But in year 3, it has been a huge disappointment so far. The Red Wings don't look like a team ready to take the next step. Instead, they look like a team that may have regressed. In today's NHL, coaches are often hired with an unspoken understanding. They're not just hired to lead, but to eventually take the fall when the team underperforms. Yzerman may not be looking to scapegoat Lalonde, but it is hard to ignore the pressure on him to make a move that signals accountability, especially with fan expectations growing each year. And let's not forget, Lalonde inherited a roster that, while improved, still isn't loaded with talent. The Eastern Conference is extremely competitive this season, and even with a better coach, it's questionable whether this group could truly compete with the heavyweights. That's where the blame game comes in. Is the team's lack of success more on Derek Lalonde or the roster itself? One of the less obvious issues plaguing the Red Wings is their emotional identity. This team lacks vocal leadership and big personalities. After losing a veteran like David Perron in free agency, the locker room lost one of its most vocal and driven leaders. Perron was instrumental last season in pushing for higher standards. He challenged his teammates to perform better and often serves as an emotional spark plug for the team. His dynamic leadership complemented Dylan Larkin's quieter, led-by-example style. This season, there's no one filling that role. Larkin remains a great captain, but he hasn't found a new loud voice to help drive the team's energy. The lack of internal motivation puts even more pressure on the coaching staff to fill the void. Lalonde, however, isn't that type of coach. He's known for his one-on-one communication skills, not fiery locker room speeches or rallying the group. Associate coach Bob Bugner has a bit more fire, but is also more of a tactician. Without a vocal presence on the ice or behind the bench, it's no surprise the Red Wings have struggled to maintain consistency, especially during tough stretches this season. If the Red Wings do decide to part ways with Lalonde, the next coach will need to be more than just a strategist. This team needs someone who can light a fire under the young core and build an emotional identity. Moritz Seider, Lucas Raymond, and Simon Edmondson are some of the most promising young players in the NHL. But what they also share is a quiet, focused demeanor. These players have shown flashes of grit and determination, but they need guidance to channel that into leadership. Take Simon Edmondson, for example. Last season, he was visibly upset about the Red Wings missing the playoffs. That frustration is something a great coach can harness and use to mold him into a vocal leader. The problem is, finding that type of coach mid-season is incredibly difficult. The ideal candidate might not even be available right now. So is firing Derek Lalonde really the right move? There's no doubt that the team's current trajectory is concerning, but a coaching change might not fix the underlying issues. Promoting someone like Bob Bugner to an interim head coach role, or even rushing up Dan Watson from the Grand Rapids Griffins, might shake things up temporarily, but would it truly address the bigger issues? The roster itself isn't built to compete with the top teams in the league right now. While there are intriguing young players and prospects in the pipeline, there's no game-changing superstar on the Red Wings roster to turn the tide. The Red Wings aren't likely to suddenly become a playoff powerhouse with a simple coaching swap. Let's not forget the risks of making a mid-season change. Bringing in a new coach with limited preparation or promoting someone internally could disrupt the little stability the team currently has. And for what? A small chance at scraping into the playoffs only to face a top-seeded powerhouse? There's a strong argument to be made letting Lalonde finish out the season. For one, firing him mid-season could send the wrong message to the players. It could create an atmosphere for uncertainty and possible lack of trust between management and the locker room. Plus, Derek Lalonde has already shown he can work effectively with the young roster. His systems helped the team improve defensively last season, and he's been praised for his ability to work with individual players. And the front office focuses on improving the roster in the offseason. Perhaps Lalonde can still coach to be the guide this team into contention. Let's not forget that Lalonde was handpicked by Steve Yzerman. While other coaches are often the scapegoat, Yzerman himself could face backlash if this rebuild doesn't progress soon. Keeping Lalonde might buy Yzerman more time to build the roster he envisions, without the added drama of a coaching change. Looking ahead, the Red Wings have some tough decisions to make. Do they ride out the season with Derek Lalonde at the helm, accepting that this might not be their year? Or do they take a gamble on a new voice behind the bench, knowing it might not make much of a difference right now? Whatever they decide, one thing is clear: the Red Wings' long-term success depends on finding the right mix of leadership, talent, and emotional energy. Whether that comes from Lalonde or a new coach remains to be seen. So what do you think? Is Derek Lalonde the right coach to lead the Red Wings forward, or is it time for a change? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Red Wings content. Thanks again for watching, and as always, let's go Red Wings.